Hi, this is Julie with Beadaholique, and today I want to show you how to add a clasp to a spiral rope stitch in bead weaving. So here are a couple examples. I'm going to show you one clasp which is already attached, and if you look really closely you can see that this clasp has just been incorporated into the beadwork itself. So you see these 8 beads right here. You can see I have a very loved and well-worn needle, but you see these 8 beads. So basically you were just completed your stitch as normal with them. Then you went back up through all 4 of these, came out, added your clasp. So you then just went through your clasp as well, and pretend I had some thread on here. Pulled it through and then went back down through the turquoise ones, and then you looped around and around and around 3-4 times until your clasp was securely wedged in there, and then you just tied off your thread and worked your tail back into your beadwork. And that was done on both sides. So you can see it's just seamless. So that is one way of doing it, and I'm going to show you how to do a second way. So here I have a bead woven piece, and I've got my spiral rope stitch. I still have the stopper bead on one end, so I'm going to go and start with the other end, which I just finished a normal stitch. So I'd be at the point where I need to add more beads, but I'm ready to wrap this one up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to thread my needle. So I'm going to go, so I was coming out of the turquoise, I'm going to go down through the lavender ones, up through the beads next to it. Make sure that's nice and secure. I'm going to go back through that turquoise one, and actually I'm going to come out. You could have gone through 2, you could have gone through 4 at this point. It doesn't really matter. You're basically just working your tail into your beadwork some. Now I'm just going to catch it under a thread bridge, pull it, go through my loop so it creates a knot. Just pull it down, pull tight, go through several more, and I'm just going to follow the turquoise path. And I'm going to do the same thing. So I just went through 3. Again, you could have gone through 2, you could have gone through 3, through 4, whatever you like. Catch under the thread bridge, create a loop, go through your loop, pull, and again, we're just working that tail into our stitching. There we go. So once you've done that a number of times, just keep working your thread so that your tail disappears. There we go. So those are secure. So now I'm going to take my thread zapper and just remove my thread. So we now have the end of a spiral rope stitch, and it's solid. The beads aren't going anywhere. So now we need to attach the clasp. And to do this, I'm going to take a jump ring, and in this case I'm using 11/0 seed beads. So the maximum gauge of jump ring I want to use is 22 gauge. So I have a 4mm 22 gauge jump ring and 11/0 Toho seed beads. I've opened my jump ring, and I am just going to put the jump ring through that last turquoise bead on my spiral rope stitch. Before I close it up, I'm going to attach it to my clasp and then close the jump ring. So that side is done, and you can see it's really secure. So I'm not having to worry that I attached my jump ring to just plain thread and then they might pull through the little gap in the jump ring. This is solid. This is not going anywhere. And so what you'll do on the other side is you'll just go ahead and get rid of my old thread. You're just going to remove the stopper bead. The way I remove stopper beads I find is easiest. Put your needle through the bead and just pull it off. So now with this, it would be the exact same technique. You would just rethread your needle. I don't know if you saw that. I actually took my nail, between my nail and my finger, I just squeezed the thread. It flattens it a little bit and it makes it a lot easier to thread the needle when you're using these really tiny needles. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. It's exiting the turquoise bead. Just going to go down through the lavender ones, and then up through another series next to them, down through the turquoise, which is the center spiral, it's the center core. So I just went through 2. Gonna go under a thread bridge, loop it, pull it tight, through a couple more. I'm going to do this real quick, and then I'm going to show you one more time how to add that jump ring and attach the other half of your clasp. If you're ever worried about your knots not being secure enough, go ahead and do a double knot. So I passed through it once, you can pass through it again. I'll make it even more secure. Okay, one more jump ring and then my clasp is attached. Go up through that top bead, the top turquoise one in the core spiral, add the other half of my clasp, close the jump ring up, and we are good to go. So here, I have just finished my necklace and added a clasp to a spiral rope stitch.